So, Mom, why don't you tell us your name and when you were born?
My name is Ruth Nederveld, and I was born October 29, 1933.
And where were you born?
I was born in a little town in a farmhouse, the little town of Hudsonville, Michigan. And old Doc Moose came over from the city. I think he came on a horse and buggy. And my dad had just put an addition on the living room. And it had a one bedroom on there. And my mom was in bed giving birth to me. And the doc was looking around at all the things in the living room. And she called, "Doc, you better get in here because the baby's coming." And he came in and there I was. "Hi, Doc."
And this was, what was the name of the area that your farmhouse was in that you
Oh, it was a little area called Shack Huddle. And there was a one-room schoolhouse there. And it got its name because there was a big beech nut tree. And under the beech nut tree, many years ago, there was a whole bunch of shacks. And the people lived in those shacks. And they were huddled together, and that's where the name came from, Shack Huddle.
Now, were they itinerant farmers? Is that who lived in those shacks?
You know, I really don't know. It was way before my time, so I couldn't tell you.
And how many acres did your dad have?
He had two farms of 40 acres each. The main farm where he did most of his farming, he had wheat, oats, corn, a big acre garden, everything. That was our main farm. And then the other farm was another 40 acres, and it was right across the street. And that had one field of grain and stuff, but the rest of it was hills and woods with a stream going through it.
And you said you went to a one-room schoolhouse?
Yep, Shack Huddle School.
And how many grades were in that
There was
school?
8 grades, and there was 28 kids in the whole school. In my grade, there was 3 kids, 2 cousins and me, Dwayne and Melvin and myself.
Now, do you remember your school teacher's name?
Well, we had 3 of them. Mrs. Arnold was the one that we played tricks on. And then we had another guy that joined the police force, and he became a cop. And then we had one other one, I don't remember her name.
And what kind of tricks did you play on poor Mrs.
Well,
Arnold?
Mrs. Arnold was a real nice lady, but one day my 2 cohorts, Melvin and Dwayne, were up on top of the hill, which was right in front of school. And there was a great big blue racer snake up there. And I grabbed a big stick, and the snake was all curled up, and he had his head up like that, and he's going like this and this and this, and I took a big stick and I whapped, and I broke his neck. I shouldn't have done it, but I did. But he was 6 foot long. We thought, let's play a trick on Mrs. Arnold. So we took this snake and we took it down, and the school was a little brick schoolhouse, but it had an entryway like that with a door in it. And it had a little cement platform there. So we took the snake and curled it all up right in front of the door. And then we ran out, and there was 2 big poplar trees, and we hid behind the trees, waiting for Mrs. Arnold to come to school. And she did. And we were back there, and of course we were giggling because we thought we were smart. Well, when she first saw the snake, she about panicked and everything, and then she grabbed something. She was hitting it like that, and then she realized it was already dead, and she turned around, and I guess she saw a little bit of our clothes sticking out behind the tree, and she caught us. Oh, we really got it. We had to stay after school every day for a week, and we had to write, "I will not do," something like that, for 1,000 times on the blackboard with chalk. And we never did it again, but that's kids.
And how old were you when you did that?
Oh, I don't know, probably 10 or 12, something like that.
So you were a bad girl?
Yeah, I was at times.
So rumor has it that you had another run-in with a mouse. What was that all about?
Well, my dad was a farmer, and he would raise corn and had big corn shocks and everything. And he'd cut them down, and before he would stack them like this, they would be laying this way before he stacked them up. And I was a little kid, and I went to the cornfield, And I thought that would make a good place to lay down. So I lay down on the shock of corn. And I'm laying there, and all of a sudden a little mouse came. And I guess he started, I don't know, I had him in my hand, and all of a sudden he bit me. And I threw him down, but I later on wrote a poem about it.
But didn't you bite the mouse?
Oh, I forgot that part. Yeah.
Yeah.
He bit me and I got mad at him, so I bit him back and then I threw him down.
And what grade did you finish Shackhuddle School in?
8th grade. And then we had to walk to high school, and that was about 2.5 miles each way because they didn't have any school buses yet. But 10th grade, they started the school buses, and then we could get a ride. But other than that, we walked.
And did you ride a bicycle?
I was the only one in my family that had a bicycle, but I think it was probably a tricycle, and I don't think I had anything else.
Okay. And what school did you go to then after Shackhuddle?
Hudsonville High School. It was 4 grades, 9th through 12th.
And what classes did you take there?
I took biology. I took geometry. I took singing. I played in the band. I played clarinet and saxophone in the band. And then I became a cheerleader for the football team. And I got to go to all the football games. And once in a while, I got to ride in the bus with the football guys. Whee! I don't remember the other courses.
Okay. And so you were there 4 years.
Yeah.
And did you ever get paddled for doing bad things like you did at Shackhuddle?
Oh, never. But one time, my friend and I we were to sing at a glee club, or not it was a meeting for the whole school, and like everybody gets together, but then they put on a program. And then Norma Jean and I were going to sing. And we stood up there, and I was so scared to be in front of everybody. I hope my mouth and nothing came out, and she got to sing a solo.
And what kind of grades did you get in school?
Mostly A's. Once in a while a B+. But no, I studied hard.
And just for some background, you were Baptist?
Independent Baptist.
Independent Baptist. And
yeah.
What did that mean? What was a...
Well, they didn't belong to a big, organization thing. But they were very, very, very strict, and a lot of things you didn't do. You never did anything on Sunday except go to church in the morning and go to church at night. You could visit with your friends in the afternoon, but you didn't even cook the meals. You cooked them on Saturday, and then you might heat them up. But that was it for Sundays. And we weren't even allowed to play with our neighborhood kids on Sunday afternoon, but we did it once in a while. Anyway, it was a good church. I learned a lot and everything, but it was an awful lot of thou shalt nots. And when I became a Presbyterian, I liked it much better. And I found out that those people, the Presbyterians, they were good people. They had a good faith, and they were much more, you could associate with them. You could talk to them and everything else. And so I've been a Presbyterian since 1960.
Let's go back to high school for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You were in the band.
Mm-hmm.
And did you play march on the fields, things like that? Did you have a uniform?
Oh, yeah. And Bert Brandt was our band leader. And he worked so hard with us kids. There were 65 kids in that band. But into the 4th year, we were #1 Class C in the whole state of Michigan. We were good. Yeah.
Did you go to band trials?
Yeah, we went all different places with the band.
Okay.
And they take the school buses, and poor Bert Brandt, he was so tired of everything. I remember one day I was in the front row on the bus, and he just dropped over, and he laid right across my lap and fell asleep.
So what year did you graduate from high school?
1951.
1951. And somewhere in your high school years, you met Dad.
Yeah.
What year do you remember meeting him?
Sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
Yeah.
And he was the quarterback.
Yeah, he was one of the football players. He was a good one.
Cheerleader.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
And occasionally I got to ride on the bus with him. Occasionally, not all the time.
And obviously you went out on dates with him.
Yeah, but our first date, actually, we were juniors in high school. And most schools have a junior and senior prom. Hudsonville had a junior and senior banquet because the whole town, they didn't believe in proms. You were not allowed to dance. You were not allowed to go to movies or anything like that. So he said, "Well, you sit by me." And I said, "Yeah." So we went through the banquet, we ate the food and everything else. And then afterwards he says, "Can we go to the movies afterwards?" I says, "Yeah, let's go." And that was our first date.
And what kind of car did you ride in?
Oh, he had a Model A, 1939, I think it was. Not sure about the date.
And so you both graduated the same year.
Yep.
Okay. And how long after you graduated from high school did you get a job? How did you get a job?
Almost immediately. I moved out of the house to Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I rented a room for $12 a week. And I got a job with a Muir Photo Labs. And it was about 2.5 miles from where the apartment was. And lots of times, well, when I first started out, we got quite a few hours in at the photo lab. And then things slowed down and they didn't have so much work to do. So our hours were cut. So was our money. We made 75 cents an hour. And I couldn't afford to get a bus ride from where I was living to where I was working. So I walked it every day, back and forth, and that was a lot of walking. And there were times when our hours had been cut so much that I couldn't even afford food. So I had a nice big jar of peanut butter and a package of crackers in my top dresser drawer. And lots of time that was dinner. But I survived it.
Sure.
And then one day, Terry came over and he says, "Let's go to Cupid's Hamburgers for Hamburg." He drove his little Model A all the way from Hudsonville, and that's about 35 miles each way. And we went to Cupid's Hamburgers, and that's the best food I ever had in my life, I think, at the time. But he had to leave the place by 9 o'clock. He wasn't allowed to stay after 9 o'clock at night. So then he had to drive all the way back to Hudsonville. So he didn't do that very often, but it was nice. And then one day we went to the Allegan County Fair, and his folks were with us. But that was really neat, and that's that one picture that's in the book of us sitting on the thing, and both of us. It was really fun. We had a lot of good times together.
Now, what was your next job? What did you have after the Muir photos? Or did you not have another job?
I don't remember. You didn't clue me in on this stuff.
Okay.
It's just practice.
And tell you what, let's stop here.
Yeah, please.
And
I have
now you